This is part 4 in a series of short videos looking at the Reflex 510 relay test system. In this part we'll look at some production support tools that allow you to do things more quickly with relays and to use the relay test system more effectively. We've already covered the function of these icons on the main front page, which give you access to the major relay tester functions: choosing a test, viewing test data, reporting, etc. But now we're going to look into this next engineering folder, which contains another set of middle level icons. The first of these, manual control, displays a page which is very similar to the situation that you would have if you took your relay, wired its coil up to a variable voltage power supply and put an LED on each contact. Using this page, the relay that's connected to the Reflex 510 can have its coil voltage changed up and down by dragging a slider, and you can see over on the right the contacts changing state as the coil voltage goes up and down. This is quite useful for looking at basic relay functionality, and although this may look very simple, this can diagnose a lot of very simple and yet possibly confusing situations like wiring issues or basic relay functionality. You can do a little bit more though, because if you click on this up button, the slider is now moving by itself, and when it gets to the voltage at which the first contact state change occurs here, it stops, showing us the voltage at which that state change occurred. If we then repeatedly click on that up button, it advances through each of the contact state changes, stopping and showing us the voltage. So by a few simple clicks on this button, we get a quite credible series of contact uprate voltage values. Over on the right hand side, there are some controls which allow you to specify the span of that slider, and also to, if necessary, turn the coil drive into a series of pulses that might be necessary for example, a latching part that is not rated for 100% continuous coil drive duty. As we move on, this icon opens the Reflex 510 log file. Quite a lot of events are written into this log file: the starting of the software, the running of tests, and any hardware or software warning or error messages. They're all written into this log file and they're all viewable. This log file information is very useful for us if we have to assist you in any way, but it's also useful for you yourself, because if you have the optional user accounts feature installed, that can be configured to force an operator to enter their username and password to start using the system, and those security log on and log off operators are also recorded into the log file. Using this log file analysis feature, it's possible for you then to later run an analysis on named events, such as a particular user logging on and logging off, and to see how long the system was being used and who used it and for how long. In addition to the log file, the underlying software structure of the Reflex 10 is also viewable here in what we call Resource Explorer. Resource Explorer provides a view right down to the lowest level of hardware and software in the system, and in the early days this was simply a useful diagnostic aid to investigating the correct operation of the hardware and software settings. But on the Reflex 510 it has entered a new level of operation where individual resources can be added and removed manually to configure the exact operation of the system. And in the final part of these videos we'll look at that in more detail.